guys, welcome back to The Unfiltered Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Ashley Pollard, and I have a very exciting announcement today. And no, it's not that if you're watching us on Spotify or YouTube, you can see all the fuzzies on my sweatshirt that I keep catching, because that's what happens when you wear a black sweatshirt on a podcast. Now, my exciting announcements are way more fun. I'm gonna go in order of fun and end with the best one. So the first most exciting thing is that the Doers Expansion Method, my group program that I run once or twice a year, is back open. This is the group that is going to show you what your long-term strategy is in your business and reverse engineer it so that you know exactly what to do today, exactly how to make money, exactly what your goals are. This is the trick to work-life balance, is being able to walk away from your work and not panic about it. And so I'm really excited the doors are finally open. Payment plans are as low as $300 for the group. We also have one spot as of recording this open for the VIP, so we do have one spot left there. I'm so excited to do this again. This is my most important group that I run. People leave this saying, you've changed my life, you've changed my vision, you've changed the way I view my business. And so I'm very excited to have the doors open again. I'd love to see you inside. The second most exciting thing is that we have our annual Black Friday deal coming up. Last year, what we did was sell 1 year inside of the Doers for a very low rate. So instead of paying for a year and paying for 12 months, we gave a special rate to have an annual insider pass into the Doers Library or into the Doers Club. We have significantly dropped the rate for the annual price with this Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. So stay tuned, because this Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is going to be the best that you will find in the online space, and I guarantee it. The most exciting thing, actually no, I have one more, but the other most exciting thing is that we are planning a pretty epic event in March. I want to see you there. Mark your calendars. March in Austin, Texas. We will be announcing all of the details around that soon. When you see what we have planned, you're going to be like, you've got to be kidding. This is so sick, so stellar. We're going to announce that soon so you can put your name on the wait list, and then the cart will open later this year in December. And the last most exciting piece of news is that our membership, the Doers, which I'm sure you know about, we have 3 tiers. The club, where I'm on demand 24/7. I'm here for you. We have weekly office hours. You get the Slack channel, the community, the first access to the job board, all of that stuff. We also have the library with the 200 plus downloads so that you can run your business more efficiently. And then we also have Access Pass, which is our free version of the Doers. We are almost at 200 members in the Doers total, and I'm loving seeing all the women who are joining. But we're making it even better. In the Doers free version, you get access to monthly office hours completely free so that you can come and ask me anything that you need. We can workshop your marketing plan, workshop your offer suite, figure out why you're not making any money, find a way for you to make money really quickly. I'm here for you. And we do this every last Tuesday of the month. There's also a form for these office hours in case you can't make it and you want me to answer the question. The good news is that you guys are really using that form. And so what I'm going to do is pull one of those questions every single week on the Doers podcast so that you have not only an office hours question that you get to hear every week, but you also get to tune in for the really good, juicy stuff of the podcast that week. So I'm going to dive into a question from the office hours form. If you want to see yours on the show, fill out the form, add your question, and I can answer it live here on the show. The link is in the show notes if you'd like to join the membership completely for free, and I'll see you inside. Now, this week's question comes from Marianne, who is part of the Access Pass tier of the Doers, and she says to me, I recently shifted my business away from website design and website development and into SEO. What should I do with the email list that I have and the social media following? Should I start a new Instagram, or should I keep the one I have? Great question, Marianne. Thank you so much for submitting that. And I completely empathize with where you're coming from. I'm sure on your end, you're thinking, it's probably easier for me to start from scratch with brand new messaging. Maybe I change my branding. Maybe I overhaul my website, kind of like build something new. The good news is that you're not going from something super different from each other to something completely opposite. For instance, it's not like you're saying, I'm going from being a personal trainer to an accountant. Instead, what I'm seeing is I'm going from something in the website space to something else in the website space. And that's very optimistic because a lot of those clients and followers and potential leads are all interested in I would argue, probably the same function, right? They're following you because they're interested in their website traffic. They care about their digital presence. So I actually think that you have a really solid opportunity to jump off from zero with people who are already interested. And that is super strong news. That is great, great news. I would also argue technically that in that fitness trainer to accountant transition, you could bring those people along with the ride. You'd want to be a lot more strategic about it. But I would really push back against like having to start a brand new name and a brand new Instagram and a brand new email list. I think that you can keep what you have and you should do just fine. Very exciting transition. I'm so happy for you to be trying something new and shifting into a new direction. If anybody is interested in also pivoting their business, know that there is no shame in that, and that there's a way for you to message this to your clients and to your audience saying, I'm really finding more about what I'm passionate about. And you could even have something where you partner with, in this particular instance with Marianne, you could partner with someone who is also doing website design services so that if you do have those inquiries come in, you have somebody who you can refer to and you can make a referral kickback from that so that you do kind of like still offer it in ways, but you're focusing on this new normal. So exciting. I'm so happy for you. If you have any questions or want to work through any of that, please come to our free office hours. If you want me a little bit more on demand, it's only $197 a month. Please join the club. I'm right there with you. Now let's dive into the nuts and bolts of this episode, which the last 4 episodes have been a little bit more emotionally charged because I've talked about things like, how to handle comparisonitis or how to be more delusional in your business, like more fun topics that really help me talk to you, the person, which is something that I feel like I haven't done in a while, right? I feel like on the podcast, not only did we take the longest break I've ever taken, I've never taken more than like a 2-month break from the podcast, but also the podcast was so heavily like training focused. And I do want to have some of that moving forward. So today's episode, if you're here and noticing the title, we're talking about ways that you could be leaving money on the table. I think that this is maybe one of the biggest things that I notice when I am working either one-on-one with someone as a private client in an advisory session, which you can book on my personal website, or if I'm working through something on office hours. I do tend to notice this being kind of like the biggest missed opportunity is the money that you're kind of saying no to because you're not even offering something for it. You're not building in that particular direction. And so I just want to call some of these things out, but I want to caveat before we even dive in that I think that these are great ideas. I think these are things that could help your business. I think they're things that could make you more money. But if you are tight on cash, I don't think building new things will technically cross the finish line. What you really want to do is just go deep on something you already have and find a way to sell the thing that is already built. You're going to waste some time building something brand new. So if you're super tight on money, come back to this episode or listen in for things that you can do in the future But for now, let's dive into 5 ways that you could be leaving money on the table. The first one, you know me, I like to ruffle a feather or two, but this one is the less than $20 option. Now, here's the thing. I know that a lot of people in the doer space offer high ticket services, whether it's a project or a retainer. A lot of the women in the doers are copywriters, website designers, social media managers, OBMs, VAs. And I know that you're likely charging like a monthly rate, let's say $500, $1,500, $25, even like $5,000. $8,000 for a certain project. All of that is fair. I'm here for it. I do think that you're leaving money on the table though by not having a less than $20 option. I'm going to tell you why. Having something that is just a no-brainer purchase helps gauge if that person knows that they can trust you or not. Let me give you an example. If you sell a $7,500 website package, but you have the wireframe your website should have, right, for $15, $20, $10, $6, $5, whatever you want it to be, that person gets to download that and see what your delivery looks like, see how you communicate to them, see how easy it is to get the thing that they signed up for. They also get to see, wow, I really trust her. She's put some time into this. I'm getting something out of this. Now, in one world, they take that wireframe and they go build a website on their own without using you. In your mind, you could say, I lost $5,500 or $7,000 or whatever, rate I said. I get how our brains can do that. The truth is that is maybe going to happen, but what's going to happen more often is that someone says, I'm just going to try to do this on my own. And they get into the work and they say, No, I'm not. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do that. So what could happen in a position is maybe take a look at your suite, right? What you offer, whether it's services, whether it's social media retainer or copywriting or photography, and distill that down into what is something that I could help them have a win today. If they genuinely maybe don't even need to hire me, what is that less than $20 option? And with that, you email them, here's your $20 thing that you bought from me, right? Whether that's through ThriveCard or Stand Store or whatever it is. And then after that, you send an email saying, how's it going? Have you started the DIY yet? If not, click here to book a call. We can chat through this. I'm happy to help. Here is the rate for that. Maybe it's $150, $250, $350. $50, I don't care. So now you have the less than $20 option. You have a way to serve them while they're still DIYing it by doing a strategy call with you about how to move forward. But you might also say, if you still haven't been able to really figure it out on your own, that's perfectly fine. Let's have a discovery call because maybe there's a special payment plan we could work out, or maybe there's a way that we can budget this together where you could book me at the beginning of next year or at the end of this summer or whatever it is that you're sending them that information. And so that is a really great way to kind of say, like, go try it on your own. Like, I empower you to do that. Here's some guardrails around how to do that well. And then saying, how's it going, by the way? Is DIYing a little harder than we thought? That's okay. I'm here to help. And then saying, if we still haven't done it, let's just outsource to a pro. And I'd like for it to be me. And that less than $20 option can really convert for you. And it could really build volume for you. A lot of times what I hear is, I don't want to charge $20. My value is so much more than $20. But what I want you to think about is, what if 200 people buy that $20 something? The value isn't around the fact that it's $20. The value around that is the fact that it brought you $4,000 in 1 year. So when you're thinking about low price anything, the value is in the volume total and not in the individual purchase. So this is just one way for you to add a little bit of discovery calls to your calendar, but also some really kind, loving nurturing for your audience in a time that they maybe do need to try to DIY it themselves. But it also helps you build trust, it helps you build familiarity, and you become top of mind for the person that they will hire when they're ready to. Now this next one I personally love, but it's not for everyone. And the reason why I say that is because you really have to know the demographic of who you're working with. But I also think always offer something because you never know if it's going to work or not. Let me dive into why. This next one I'm calling the extended contract. Now, the extended contract is basically you saying, listen, we've been on this retainer for 3 months. We've renewed once or twice. Now we've been working together for 6 months, for 9 months, for a year. I love working with you. You love working with me. Let's lock in this rate for 24 months, for 12 months. That's 1 year or 2 years. And the reason why I think this is helpful is one of two things. One is if that person very much sees their business growing and them staying committed to it for the next 2 years, then they do want to commit to a team that's going to stay with them. There's something nice about knowing I'm growing with someone who I've developed a relationship with. The other part of it that's nice for you, number two, is that you have this rate locked in for 2 years, which just helps to the predictability of your business. If you've been around for a while, I always say you do not want consistency in your business. I would argue that's not at all what you're actually seeking. You don't really care about consistency in your business as much as you care about predictability. So for instance, if I told you that at the beginning of every quarter you would make $50,000, the next 2 months you would make nothing, you would not care. You would not care that it's inconsistent. You would only care that it was predictable. I just need to know when I'm making money so that I can plan. So when we remove the idea of consistency and exchange it for I want predictability, those longer contracts are where you're going to have the best peace of mind. And now the con here is that you are locking in a rate that you may outgrow within those 2 years. So make sure that the rate not only honors where you are now, but also where you're going in the future. That's an option that a lot of agencies deploy. I see a lot of contracts contracts coming my way or requests for contracts where they are asking for like a 12-month deal, a 24-month deal, even sometimes a 3-year deal. So it is something that you see in bigger business. You don't always see it in the online space, but I think that if you don't offer, it's always a no. And I think it's worth talking to people about, because I do foresee a world that we get into a little bit more of a longer contract type of world, because everybody is craving consistency and everybody is craving that type of reliability and partnership. I think bring it up to people, especially because if you could stack 3 clients at $3,000 a month with a 1-year or a 2-year agreement, you're set knowing that you're making $9,000 a month for the next 2 years. And that is a really, really comfortable place to be. Now, this is the hill that I will die on, and if you've been in my space for a while, you likely know what I'm going to say next. But I genuinely want us to talk more about the fact that eventually all of us will be ready to move on from our business. Now, that may seem so far detached from where you are right now, or it may be exactly where you are today. Some of you listening might be like, I want to quit. Get me out of here. Like, this is driving me nuts. It's driving me crazy. And I get that. But there are some of you that are so in love with this and so embedded in it. And I've done the branding and I've done the website and I've done the SOPs and I have the operations team and I have the accounting team. You have all of that. You have no world where you can't see a future doing this type of thing. And if you're someone who's multi-passionate, you likely have a piece of you where you're like, I want to do it all. I want to have the photography business. I want to have the branding business. I want to work events. I want to do this, right? Or you may be like me where I'm like, I wanted the marketing agency, so I built it. I wanted the product brand, so I built it. I got a lot of stuff up my sleeve. And the way that I'm able to do that is because I know that I'm building assets. I'm not building simply a salaried job. And we do not give ourselves enough credit. If you have gotten branding done, that is an asset of your business. If you have a website done, that is an asset of your business. If you have SOPs, if you have operations, if you have a client roster, if you have testimonials, if you have a social media following, if you have an email list, these are assets in your business. And there are a lot, hundreds, thousands of people who buy businesses right out of college or who don't go to college and buy businesses because they don't like the setup of one. This may not be a demographic you're familiar with, but that does not mean it doesn't exist. There is a massive market for buying pre-existing businesses. Now, if you have a lot of hesitation around, I don't want to sell my business, it has my name, it has my pictures. One thing you can do in selling your business is stay on as CEO. You could stay on as the head of marketing and keep doing all the social if you enjoy that. You could fully pass it off and say, take the whole thing, I don't care. There are different things that you can negotiate in selling a business. And one day, when you're done with this, you have a few exit options. One is that you sell those parts individually, so an email list separately from a social following, separate from your website. 2, you sell the whole business together. And when I say sell it, you could make millions. You could make hundreds of thousands, but at the very least, you could make 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. And we're really leaving money on the table, acting like that is something that you're not allowed to do because you don't know someone who's done it. You are allowed to do that. There is a big market for it. And I know that I'm the person who's always telling you something that seems crazy, but every time I do, I end up being right. So get ahead of this now. That is exactly what we're covering in the Doers Expansion Method, by the way, is we are talking about what your exit strategy is going to be, what assets are going to matter to you, and we build that plan backwards to where you are today so that you know where you're headed, you know where you're going, you know what kind of goals are set for you. So if that's interesting to you, you may want to join the Doers Expansion Method, because here's the thing, building an asset is something very similar to building a savings account. You will regret not doing it sooner. And when other people are like, yeah, I have $2 million in savings, I have $250,000 in savings, you won't be able to go back in time and build that savings over time. It's the same thing with building your business into an asset. That doesn't mean that you're too late. There's never a too late ever to start saving or to start building your business into more of an asset. But I do want you to think about the long road and what you're going to do when you decide to be done. Because the last thing I want to see is you walk away. That is not what I want for you. And know that everything you're building has immense value. The next one that I want to talk about is the most fun. This is the one that I love to share. This is the one that I love to talk about. And this is the dreamy offer. I'm always giving people this advice because I do think that we are leaving a lot of money on the table not sharing this one. For instance, oftentimes, I will be either on office hours with someone or on a one-on-one call with someone, and I'll ask them this question where I will say, what would be an opportunity that would come your way that would just blow you away? And let's say they're a copywriter. They might say, well, I would just love to do copy for like the full suite of marketing. I want to write the website copy, the social copy, all the email funnels. I want to do the packaging copy if it's for a product brand. I would love to do all of it so that I'm responsible for that full world of experience of copy. You might also say this when it comes to marketing, where you say, well, I would love it if I could do the social and the TikTok and the email, or the Instagram, I should say, the Instagram, the TikTok, the email, all of it, right? And this can apply to anything. It can apply to OBMs. It can apply to accountants. Like everybody has this kind of like, it would be so sick if I could close something like this. And then your brain does this thing where it says, oh, well, I would have to hire for that. And people don't have the kind of budget for that thing. And I want to challenge that because here's the thing. If you want to have this really big package one day, if you would love to have this type of work one day, let's go back to our copy example where she's doing the entire world of copy. No one can hire you for that if they don't know you can do that. What's interesting is that when you're buying, when you're shopping, when you're talking to agencies or service providers, and you may have noticed this yourself, you go to their page and you see what they offer. It's very rare that someone's mind is going to say, I wonder if they do something different than what's on this website. A lot of times we use it as boundaries where we say, okay, this is what they offer. They are telling us exactly what they can do. But you likely are missing what I'm calling the dream offer. And so you don't have to necessarily have pricing for this on your website. And I'm a big, everything should have pricing on your website. But if there is this big dreamy offer where maybe you have to get other people involved, maybe it's a longer timeline, maybe you've never done it before and you need to really figure out like how that would work inside of your systems, you can have something at the top of your website, on the bottom of your website, on your homepage that says, if you want the full experience, if you want to really do a world of, if you want the moon, the sky, you know what I mean? Like if you want everything, inquire with me. Inquire within. We've seen it before. And this is for the person who wants all of it under one roof. And what's interesting about this is that this actually gives you the opportunity to make it happen. Otherwise, it's a pipe dream. And I want you to really think about the fact that like you likely have connects who can come in on this with you. It doesn't even have to be that you want to do quote unquote all the copy or all of the things in one world. Maybe you're a brand designer and you think, well, it would be really cool if I had a group of people that were all working together where I had the copywriter, I had the photographer, I had the website designer, I was doing the branding, we had a packaging designer. And your brain might think, well, yeah, that's going to be so expensive because each of those might be $5,000 to $10,000. That might be like a $50,000 to $100,000 offer. Correct. So put it on the website. It does a few things. One, you have no idea if that actually is something someone wants. So that's one. The second thing it does that we're totally discounting is that it validates your other offers. For instance, if I'm going to someone's site and the biggest thing that I can do with them is $2,500, I'm not discounting the fact that that's important and that's big. But if they also have something that's $10,000 or $20,000, there's something about trust that happens where I say, well, if she's ready for something like that, she can handle $2,500. She can handle the work that I'm giving her at this level. And so there's a bit of trust and validation that goes into this. Don't use this to manipulate. Don't use this to lie and coerce. But if you have that big dreamy offer that you would love to get one day that you're telling yourself no one can afford, I want to see you talk about it. I want to see it at least on the website. You never have to really dive into it on your marketing. I at least want to see it on the website. And maybe once a quarter, once a year, twice a year, however frequent you want to do it, I would like to see it in your marketing. Just very rarely and barely. Because then at least you get some gears turning. Someone might know someone. You may get one of those contracts. Don't dismiss that. And then the final offer that I really want to talk through today is the white label offer. And the white label offer is very straightforward. It is basically you doing the work that you do, but under someone else's business. And there's a few ways that white label works. I do have an entire podcast episode on white labeling. We at Dial Zero Marketing bring on a lot of white label partners, and we at Dial Zero Marketing do a lot of white label work for other companies, other brands. So there's a lot that kind of goes into it, and I walk through all of that nuance on that podcast episode. But if you're interested in white labeling, the pros and cons here, pros would be you don't have to do any of the sales or marketing. They closed them. They found them. They closed them. They handled legal. They're handling contracts. They're handling invoicing. All of that is off your plate, which means you should be charging less than your standard rate. The question has to be, whose systems are we using? Am I using your onboarding form? Am I using your internal systems? Or are we bringing my systems and my onboarding form with your branding, right? And so that's kind of the question that you want to have to get that rate. The more you bring to the table, the higher your rate is. For instance, if someone comes to Dial Zero and says, hey, this happened this morning actually, can you design this pitch brand? 100% yes. We designed it, I passed it to the person, she paid us, and that was it. We didn't have to interface with the client. The client will likely never know that we were involved in any way unless they look at our website and we happen to put it on there. We probably won't, but we could. That's a pretty clean white label experience. There's also another company where we do a lot of social media white labeling for them, and we use our Airtable systems because our systems are so good. Genuinely stunning chef's kiss. We're actually about to start selling the back-end systems for how we run our agency, and we've gotten so much interest already, so stay tuned for sure. But this particular company not only is white labeling our social media services, graphic design, video editing, copy, all of that, they're also white labeling the fact that we're using this system to motivate and to retain and keep this client because it is so clean, so organized, so beautiful. So when we work with them, it is a lot more expensive because we're maintaining the system. We have automations we're building and monitoring, and we do have this like proprietary way that we're working that we're bringing to the table. I don't think I'm seeing enough people talk about this. For instance, what would it look like if once a week you took an hour to go on LinkedIn and find agencies or service providers who offered services similar to yours, right? So let's say you do social media, maybe they do PR. Find people who are offering similar adjacent services and reach out to them and state, I do XYZ service and I'm looking for some more white label work. I'd love to talk about what opportunities we could have together. Here's my calendar link. Would love to chat sometime. If you took an hour to find these people, reach out to them and send that message, that would not take very long. And LinkedIn is a transactional place. They like that type of thing. If you want to know exactly how to grow on LinkedIn, by the way, I have the exact strategy that has helped me kill it on LinkedIn. I put that inside of the Doers Library. It's $97 a month. Go check that out. But that is an incredible way for you to grow your business without marketing, without sales. That's a lot of what we did at Dial Zero to grow and to scale. So consider that in your own road. You know, what does it look like to actually like build and scale maybe like a white label division of your business that could really take off and help you have money coming in without necessarily having to network and market so much. Wow, guys, typically I record for like an hour and a half and then I trim it down to 35 to 40 minutes, but we're already at 40 minutes and I've talked your ear off. I've said what I needed to say. Like I said, we have a lot of exciting things along the way here. Not only are the doors open right now for the Doers Expansion Method, TDEM, but we also have our Black Friday deal coming up, which is such a massive deal if you've been looking at the Doers Library or the Doers Club. And then finally, we have our event in March that I'm so excited to share more about. You are going to lose it when you see some of the things that we have planned because I'm so excited. It's going to be such a good time. The Doers have never had an opportunity for all of us to come together. And I do think that this would be the most ideal way for us to hug each other and network and support each other and also kind of see some of the stuff that I've been keeping a secret lately, but you'll be able to see in person. So I'm excited about that. Stay tuned. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to see you at office hours. You can become a free member with the link in the show notes to join Access Pass, which is our free tier. Office hours is always the last Tuesday of the month. Would love to have you there. Come to listen to other people's questions. Come to ask your own. come to chat through marketing or sales or where you're going or give yourself some clarity, I'm here for all of it. And like I said, if you want me in your back pocket, make sure to join the Doers Club because I'm very on demand there for anything you need. It's such a beautiful group of women. I love that space so much. And I will see you guys next time. If you want your office hours to be featured on the podcast, make sure to go fill out the form. And I will see you guys next week on The Unfiltered Entrepreneur.